Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, bald mosquitoes and bow-legged ants, and this is another fun-filled episode of The Other Side of Ropes, the online video column about wrestling from another wrestler who is, of course, living on the other side of ropes. And, of course, I am your host, Redhead, aka Black Magic or Shaka, depending on, well, yeah. You get the idea. You get the grind by now. Anyway, I guess you guys wondering what this little weird thing is. No, it has nothing to do with an electronic discernment. And no, for you pervs out there, it's not for what you think it is. Stop waving your freak flag. No, what this is my latest acquisition. This is what you would call old school wrestling training coupled with modern engineering. This is the modern day version of what would be known as a gada, or that's GADA, look it up, or as what they would call it in India, or a mace. And as you can tell, I just got it in through UPS. This is 20 pounds or just over 9 kilo. And yeah, people say, oh yeah, that doesn't look too hard. It's 20 pounds. Guys, if you see where the weight is, it's awkward. Okay, most of the weight's up here, and the rest is all handle. You know, it's all handle. And this is what I'm going to be showing off when I go work out after I get off work tomorrow when I go to PSC. So I'll be putting on a bit of a show, as opposed to playing with my clubs or playing with my kettlebells. And this is what they used to play with for wrestling training in ancient India. Now the clubs, well, that's what they used in Persia. If anybody's not too familiar, if you go back and look at the stuff that Iron Sheik used to use, and he had like 5 to 10 pound clubs. Well, I use a 10 pound to warm up. The heaviest I play with, I call it Bam Bam, it's 45 pounds. But the ones I usually stay with is 15 to 20 pounds. It's supposed to be awkward. Now, reason why I bring this up is, well, it has a lot to do with, well, like I said, wrestling training. I remember my grappling coach, big ups to Boogie. He just came back from the UFC Expo in Houston, and he got to have a lot of one-on-one time with 3 of the Gracies. It was, I believe, Henner, Hoyler, and I think Heilig. I could be wrong, but he was up until last summer. He was a purple belt in the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu system, and due to the fact that it was he and 5 other guys, because everybody else that went there was still hungover from going to the bar the night before, your loss. But they were so amazed at his level of conditioning that they wanted him to come back for the next expo in July as a certified Gracie Jiu-Jitsu instructor, because they were so impressed with how much he picked up in his conditioning. And Boogie said this 2 years ago after my fight at the Asylum ECW Arena. Yeah, it's been 2 years already. He said basically, look, anybody can train a fighter to fight, but the main thing is conditioning. Words to live by, and that's what I've been going by for the last 3 years. Josh Barnett plugged the mace. I saw the ad on YouTube. Yeah, you're not going to get any real wrestling strength from doing curls or doing bench press. I mean, yeah, like about 3 years ago when I kind of halfway gave a damn, I was benching about, at least 110. And I'm not talking on a bar. You can ask my partner out in Belgium, Roberto Laquemez, about the 55 kilo dumbbell incident, and he'll tell you what I'm talking about. But yeah, I very rarely played around with the bar anymore. By the time I stopped messing around with free weights, I did dumbbells because it's more fun, because you get to play around with your stability. I'm talking core and all that. That's what you know about yourself when you're playing with core, because that's the main thing. This is a tricky business, folks. It really doesn't have anything to do with how much you bench. It really has nothing to do with if you got $1 million body. Sure, you can have $1 million body, but if you ain't got the conditioning to go with it, all that size doesn't mean a thing if you don't know how to use it. You know, a 250-pound bench press is not going to save you from being tossed on your tuchus. Seriously. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different takedowns out there. It's not going to save you from trying to get out of a neck crank if you don't know the right technique. And that's the other thing Boogie had pumped into my head, and it's true. He drilled it in this order, and I said this before in England. It's technique, speed, then power. If you don't have the first, the other two are negated. So you got nothing. You got to train the technique. And that's the problem we've got a lot right now, and especially in indie wrestling. Everybody wants to go for the cool moves, but nobody really wants to work for the technique. Nobody wants to work for the conditioning. That's why you can have $1 million body 5 minutes into the match. I figured that one out. First time I dropped down to 185 pounds. I thought, I mean, look good, but why do I need a daggone oxygen tank and 5 minutes into the match? Because I wasn't conditioned. Look good, wasn't conditioned. Just saying. I'm going to cut this one short because I got an early day for the rest of the week. Because, well, that's real world. And I got a freaking headache. Seriously. I mean, just before I started shooting, I took 3 Tylenol. So, just to give you an idea just how serious it is. And this thing's getting heavy on my lap. But, on that note, shout outs to all my peeps out in the West, Johnny Logan, the NCA crew, my twisted sister out there and out in LA. She's doing the thing with Occupy LA, the whole Occupy program. Big ups to my boy Nick, aka The Sickness, out in Arizona. To my little sister out there in Kansas, Bethany Graycat, and to Lisa Stone out there in Kansas City, Missouri, just as well, down this Mid-South. I'm not forgetting all you folks. To the rest of the Logan clan, Jackson Daniels, Grizzly 38 Proof, to the former MCW crew, Massive Mike, Mr. Chuck the Ref, the master of the 2 count, E.L. Stanley, D-Line, the C Plus guys, the Varsity Club crew, to my elder brethren up in Philly, the 215 Empire, the Last Emperor, oh my gosh, Mac Daddy Ron Star, you got the Empress Simply Divine, you got Tyreno, you got one of the best kept secrets of the cruiserweights, the king of the cruiserweights. That's right, none other than Blackie. You got the 213 wing. That's my little brother up by New Jersey, New York. The NMG No Limits champs, or the Sky Limit champ. I'm talking about, of course, Xavier Fate. The rest of the Power Pro Wrestling crew down in Delaware, Grey Wolf and Shelby. Haroof. To my man Jeff and Amber down in Delaware. To my peeps up in the Tamaqua area. I'm speaking about the Elite Generation Wrestling crew. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Let me see. To over my peeps over in Europe, down in over in the UK. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. PT Player. Got a birthday coming up for the little one, Miss Wu, the most dangerous little girl in professional wrestling, especially in the indie scene in the UK. I'm talking about none other than PT Player's daughter, Miss Victoria, or aka Wu. Then you got Drewy. You got the Rough and Ready crew down in Northampton. Vicky, Jim, of course T Toller, Tommy. You got the Milkshake over to Belgium. You got my boys Rob Raw, Bull, Lori, Dorax, Jack Demento, Wendy Alossery, Enderdad. I could have saved that for the Holland crew, but y'all already got that idea. Talking about, of course, the Sumerian Death Squad. And, of course, none other than Rico Bushido, soaking up the sun in some island somewhere in the Pacific or possibly even in the Caribbean. You never know with that guy. And, of course, one half of one of the former craziest tag teams in Holland. I'm talking about, of course, Matt Van Kunder of G-Spot. To the Deutschland crew over in Berlin. Craig BC. Susie, Kathy, the House of Jacks, Crazy Sexy Mike, Ahmed Hare. Or I'm sorry, I know I said that wrong. Ahmed, forgive me. Um, Susie in Dresden, Mina Tokta, Silvana, um, Sandra out in Grossenhain, Maddie, um, to Rick the Voice Valentine, Tazzy Machine, WrestlingJunkies.de, Marcus, WrestlingFever.de. Of course, you got the Lubag crew. Of course, I'm talking about the MAWA. I know I probably said that wrong. Forgive me, guys, but you know I'm talking about Pro Wrestling Fighters, and of course Marcel, Andrea Bobic of Top Catch, Crazy Johnny Tiger of Deutsche Wrestling Alliance, to the Austrian crew. Of course, I'm talking about the Kovac clan, up to Finland, Starbuck and Fight Club Finlandia. I know I probably still forgot everybody, but hey, that's a lot for 3 to 4 minutes. And Pro Wrestling Eve crew, Yenny. Of course, facing one of the best of Ice Ribbon. Oh, man. If y'all ain't see it, y'all need to check it out. That was off the chain. And, of course, Alpha Female and the rest of the Pro Wrestling Eve crew. I'm going to try and get some Z's, but first I'm going to try to upload this thing. If not, I'll do it later on in the morning when I get up, if I remember, along with the other stuff I got to do. And I got to not pump the bass, hump this mace. And I didn't mean it that way, you pervs. But on that note, I'm out. Peace.